How would you structure a local business website targeting multiple GB categories? I have a client that does concrete, landscaping, and deck building. So there is no one master GBP category to optimize the homepage and locations for. No, but I actually just covered this last week on the MasterMIND webinar, and I built a example site to show how to do it. Okay, and it's an example. Look, I'll give you guys the example site. You can go poke around on it. But there's four. I don't have time to get into this, nor would I. That is MasterMIND training, guys. Just to be clear, I'm not going to do site structure examples in Hump Day Hangouts. When I do that in MasterMIND, that's what I talked about earlier on the call. Where if you join the MasterMIND, if you have site for specific examples or situations, clients, whatever, where you want to see how to apply this type of a optimization method to that site build, all you got to do is request it in the MasterMIND, and I will produce some training about how what the starting point of that would be. So remember, I'm not in these other industries, guys. All I can do is give you a very good starting point for how to structure a site so that it will perform best with this type of a model. But then it's up to you to trial and error, right? You have to test single variable tests to figure out what configuration changes produce the best performance. And so I can give you the starting point, but I'm not in all these other industries. And I cannot know without testing in those industries. And I am certainly not going to go out and build test sites in other industries that I don't work in just for teaching purposes. I do occasionally, like somebody asked me to do a multi-location, multi-service category type of a structure. And I spent over 3 hours developing this demo site here specifically just so I could do training on it for our MasterMIND now. You join the MasterMIND, I'll do things like that, but I'm certainly not going to do that free on a Hump Day Hangout, guys. I apologize for that, but I will share this with you so that you can poke around and look at it. Just look at it in the take a screenshot. Press.cityscene.media. It's just a demo site that is set to no index so that I can show different structural configurations, etc., based upon service area locations, service categories, etc. Right? Just pointing that out. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to move on. Next question. So come join the MasterMIND. Now, happy to, all you got to do is post a request. Like, hey, here's a site structure that I would like to see. What do I do for this? Give me the details. What are the service categories? What are their service areas? And from that, I can provide you with a mock example of how I would, remember, it's only a starting point. I try to say this all the time. When I give a site structure example, that does not mean it's gospel, it's law. That if you implement that, you're absolutely going to crush all the competition, because I'm not in those industries, guys. I'm in the tree service industry. I know what works in the tree service industry because I test in that industry. That model can be applied to other circumstances, other local businesses, etc. But it's going to be up to you to do the changing, the split testing against whatever is your control. Remember, your control is your best performer. We'll change split test, against that control. And if you find something that produces a performance gain, you duplicate that across other tests and see, does it, the way that I determine if something is valid enough to integrate it into the control, meaning it becomes part of the standard operating procedure, so to speak, is if I find something that a single variable change that produces a performance gain that will happen more often than not. Like, in other words, if I test it 10 times and 6 out of 10 times it produces a gain, but the other 4 a marginal gain or no gain at all, no change, then I will still consider that as something valid enough to now incorporate into my actual control, my standard operating procedure, if that makes sense, right? And then once you do that, you do it again, you find something else. What do I mean? Well, change the terms that you're testing in the SEO title and the H1, right? Use different entity variants, things like that. You can change the H2 headings. You can change, there's a number of things that you can test with. But again, it's just a starting point. And I can provide that to you in the MasterMIND. Otherwise, you can poke around and look at this and just get some examples, some ideas. Moving on.